Hello everyone and welcome back to our latest episode of Hot Picks. I hope you're all well and ready to delve into looking at a few of our top pairs that we're going to be looking at for next week. Now I'm going to start off the US dollar. You guys who've been following us for a few weeks or few months will know that I normally always start off with the US dollar index here to understand how the US dollar is moving, because it shows us what the rest or a large percentage of the market is going to do. Now, I just really want to home in on this a little bit this week, just to really help you guys understand how to look at the market and how to view it. So, if you go back to our previous Hot Picks videos and market updates on our YouTube channel, you would have seen me adding these over the past few weeks or few months, and continuously calling that the clever trade, which is a very important thing to always look out for when you're looking at analyzing the market. You want to look at what's the smart trade, what's the clever trade. Not trying to go against the trend or go against the grain and making life hard for yourself, but doing the easy things, making life simple, as you would have seen in our Forex lesson number 1 and number 2 so far, and which number 3 that is now ready and will be releasing to you guys soon. So just on that, number 3 is going to be very, very important for your learning, and it'll help you understand a little bit more what I'm talking about today. But but we kept explaining back at this area that this was a pullback. So the smart trade was to sell the US dollar, which meant buying Euro USD at the time. We actually gave out that trade on that Hot Picks video. We go back to probably the 12th of November and the 23rd of November. Look at those videos. You'll see the trades that were given out, and then how holding those trades for a long period of time, you could have made a lot of pips and a lot of money. So here, obviously, we can see, I'll just say it again, I continuously say this, is the US dollar has been in a downtrend since March 2020. So all of this year, the majority of the year, apart from the first quarter, the US dollar has been pushing down and been very, very weak. Now, what happens with most traders is when price gets to an area like this, before all of this price action happened over here, most will see that we come down, we made a low, we come down and made a double bottom, and no one can understand or fathom that the price is going to drop down further, or how much it's going to drop, because it's not happened yet. It's hard to understand or hard to vision it before it's happened, but you have to have that vision and understand that market can keep pushing and keep pushing. Because if you just look back, for instance, there would have been a period here where price came down, there was a double bottom, so you had support, and it would have looked like price was finding support here, and people want to believe that price is going to push up and they're going to make that big swing trade and a bigger trade, where if you just go with the previous trend, as you can see here, we're making lower lows, lower highs, we made a lower low, we made a lower high, and we've broken through. Look at how much the market has trended down since that period. We come down here, then we come into a consolidation zone here, rather than trying to go against the trade. What we kept saying in our previous Hot Picks is sell the US dollar, sell the US dollar. Keep selling until we see a reason why we shouldn't. And here you can see, again, many would have thought, okay, we've got support, 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 support. We might see a push up here, but then we've seen a break, and the next thing, we're off again. Price is breaking down, big push back down to the downside. So we can see here how you need to vision ahead of what could be, and always try and go with the clever trade, the smart trade, as we keep saying. So drop down to the 4-hour chart here on a lower time frame. We can see here that at the moment, a lot of traders will be thinking, right, the US dollar's pushed down so much that surely it's got to come back. But that's what happens when people try and find the bottoms here. They keep trying to find the bottom and thinking price can push back up. Whereas if you're doing the smart trade and just keep selling, you can see here, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and the price is just trending down. So there's nothing to tell you to take a trade against the US dollar at the moment, and that's what we've seen across the market, where price has just been pushing up, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down in US dollar pairs, or vice versa on pairs like Euro USD. It's been pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Now what we've got to understand is we've seen from our top-down analysis video on Forex lesson 1, we've got our supports and resistance levels here. We can quite clearly see that we had this area of consolidation on the US dollar, then we've broken out. We've now broken out of that, and we could start trending down lower. When price breaks out of a support, comes back, retests resistance, but where are we going next? We're looking at the next level of support. So in this case, we've come down and we've hit 90.50. Now we've broken 90.50, where are we looking at? potentially coming down to 88.50. 88.50 is now potentially on the cards and looking suspect for this for the US dollar to come down and test. And why else? Because it's the previous major support over here as well, from all the way back down in February 2018. It now looks like price may come back down to test this level. But what can we expect? First, we can expect price to continue trending, of course. It's not going to just continuously go bang, come down and hit it all in one candle. We can expect price to trend. So now that gives us an idea of what to look out for this week. So let's get rid of this for the moment. We can see here we've clearly broken 90.50, that support level. It had a little bit of a gap here, but we're looking at price to potentially come back and retest this as resistance before potentially moving down lower. So we can see that we've broken this, we've had resistance here. Price could come back up and tap this area of resistance. So there's potential for price to move back into this region before seeing a sell-off. But just because we see a little bit of a move up doesn't mean that the US dollar is bullish. Remember, the clever trade will be to sell the US dollar. Now, there will be at times, if you keep taking the clever trade, there will be times where you may be wrong, but trading is all about winning and losing, and it's all about probability and stacking the probability onto your side. So for instance, a good example here is if you kept going with the trend and going with the higher probability trade, like shorten the US dollar here, 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 that's 4 trades that you would have won. So now if you go with the smart trade and short the US dollar here again, if it was to break up to the upside, you've now won 4 out of 5 trades. And then you can change your bias. But at the moment, the higher probability is still that we might have a pullback, but we will more than likely see a push back down to the downside. Now, with the market structure course video, which is going to be very, very helpful to you guys with your trade and understanding how the market works, we can understand that price is making low lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. So this lower high region is very, very important for the US dollar as well. So what this is telling us is that this is the last lower high. This is the last place where we explained to take a short trade from a new US dollar. And we now understand 2 things here. We've got a few areas of resistance where price might come back to on the US dollar here. We could come back and tap this level, which is 90.50, which would have 2 confluences with a potential resistance, because we've got the resistance level here of the daily support, and we've also got the resistance of this trend line, 0.1, 0.2 and 0.3 coming into play here. But especially if you watch market breakdown lesson number 3, which is coming out very, very shortly, next few days, you'll understand that we have this potential to come up anywhere within this region and still be bearish. So you need to understand that the US dollar, as long as the US dollar trades below 91.20 or 91.23 to be precise, that we are still in a downtrend. So price has the potential to pull back anywhere into this region, but as long as it stays below here, we're still bearish. And at the moment, you wouldn't want to bet against the US dollar, given that it's literally fallen off the edge of a cliff. So at the moment, we can see that price may pull back, and then we can be looking at taking short trades back down once again. So we may see a little bit of a pullback early in the week, but overall the US dollar is very, very weak. And any slightly bullish move early in the week I would not be getting excited about, because it does look like at the moment that price could come out and potentially take out this low or come down to this low at 88.50 on the US dollar index. Let's just drop down to the 4 hour, and so you can understand this a little bit better and just clearer. So we've got an area of support here. Price to come down, support will more than likely tap this level of support again, but before we even do make a base and before a potential pullback. So at the start of the week we could even come back and test this, because it's untested. We've made one push down, we come down, we've retested as resistance to this monthly level, and now we're pushing down, but this move hasn't really finished yet. We've made one push down, we're making a little rally back. This could easily just continue the next move down at the start of the week. We need to come back down and test this level of support. As I said before, price retraces. Normally see price retest the level of support at least twice. So what we're expecting is early in the week, price might come down here, and we'll be watching from there whether it continues down lower before making any retracement. So now understanding that helps us analyze the rest of the market very, very easily. We need to see how price reacts once it gets back to this support. If it breaks through, then we need to be patient and wait for price to continue finding until it does find a support before it makes a pullback. because at the moment move has already started happening, so we don't want to jump in late to the market. So I'll be watching out for this sort of scenario, and then understanding that price could pull back anywhere to this region, but still be very suspect for another wave of short selling and another push down. So let's have a look at USD CAD. Kind of helps couple with what we're just saying about the US dollar. US dollar as well, we go back to our previous hot picks, the US dollar CAD. We look at our previous hot picks. We've been saying do not buy, I think even from back up at these levels here, 1.30, especially our first market breakdowns on Innovation YouTube. We kept explaining do not buy, do not look at buying USD CAD. The only smart trade was to sell USD CAD, sell the US dollar, sell, 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 sell. And we've been doing that ever since. Now, US dollar CAD is a very, very interesting one, because at the moment we can see here it's getting to a very, very important level, which with market structure and the market structure lesson 3 on our Forex course will help you understand. We've now made a lower low, we've made a lower high, we've made a lower low, we've made a lower high, we've made multiple lower highs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're now in an area where price is showing us that it's trying to break out, it's trying to maybe attempt to break the last lower high to invalidate this downtrend on the 4-hour. However, it hasn't been able to do that yet. So this area at the start of the week is going to be a prime area where I'll be looking at taking a short trade on USD CAD and coming to aim back to the lows down here. Now, you can see here what I said about the US dollar, how normally before we make a reversal, we find a base and test the level of support resistance twice. Here you can see support, support, and then it's moved back up. But here you can see that we come to this area of resistance. So we've got on the 4-hour a lower low, and then we've had equal lower highs here. So come down, made a lower low, and then we've made a lower high, equal lower low, and then we were in a bit of a range here, but we kept making equal lower highs. We did not break above the last lower high, came back up, then we snapped, broke through this, and we went down and made a new lower low. Then we came down, we came back up, made a new lower high here, and as you can see here, we've got this area, this lower high, where price is failing to break. So we come back down, lower low, equal lower high, equal lower low, equal lower high. So now we're basically actually stuck in a range. But what we have to understand is, what is the US dollar doing? We know the US dollar is weak. So we've been saying to short USD CAD for the last month or so, and rightly so. As you can see, it's just done nothing but move to the downside. So at the moment, we are now looking at, for the short to medium term, that there could be another move back down to the downside, because we've now shorted on the last lower high. Now we made a lower low, and we're at this equal lower high area here. And we can see that price is finding resistance. So what can we expect? The higher probability trade is to push down and make a new lower low, and to continue the move down to the downside. Not to be too worried and get caught up about how high or low USD CAD is at the moment. Yes, we could be wrong, but that's what trading is about. Whereas we've been saying to short USD CAD for weeks and weeks and weeks. So we've been getting correct trades. One day you will lose a trade. Obviously, that's what trading is about. But now you've had the higher probability trade, and you've made the money on all the way down, following the trend. Whereas here, there's a good high probability that we will still see resistance here, and at least see a push back down to 1.2750, potentially come back down towards the bottom of this range. But then if price really gets going and the US dollar sells off, coming back down to make new lows and to make a new lower low. So for me, this is what I'm going to be watching out for at the start of the week. I'm going to be looking at shorting opportunities on USD CAD here from around this region, looking to aim back down towards the lows, and seeing if we can see if the US dollar CAD can continue this downtrend and continue down to make a new lower low. Let's just zoom out on the 4-hour. Let's just show you so you can visually see. So we can push down. We can see we're making lower lows, lower lows. Price could easily push down from here. One more time, or it could be many more times. Push down and push down towards this region, and continue this low down. So there could be a nice swing trade here. Only thing to watch out for on this is we have broken back above 1.2750, which is a weekly level, but we've been breaking above, below, above, below, above, below. We're in a range here. Price is quite choppy, so we could easily find resistance, find the bears step in here. We haven't been able to break above the previous lower highs, so you can see the bears step in here and take this down. So I'll be looking for shorting opportunities to come back down. This is a very, very good area to take a short trade from because there's a minimal risk. You can have a small stop loss around this area with a large reward, because we know that if price goes any higher than here, then we don't want to be in this trade, because it means on the 4-hour time frame that yes, we are breaking to the upside, and therefore we're now starting the new trend. But as things stand, we can have a really nice stop loss and we can have a large reward. So we can have, it's a really nice place. Taking trades from equal lower highs or equal lower lows is a really nice place where to take a trade from, where you have minimum risk and huge reward. So looking at early start of the week to see how we react around here. If this holds as resistance, then there's beautiful opportunities to take a short trade back down. And even if we don't get all the way down, I can see at least a push down into sort of these regions or retest that level of 1.2750. So that's USD CAD. So you understand it's the same sort of scenario as the US dollar index as well. And then let's have a look at gold. Gold is an interesting one for us this week. So gold, we see gold going higher. We see gold coming up to potentially 1963, maybe even higher. But first, we believe that we're going to see a pullback. Now, we hope to see a pullback so we can gain entries on both sides of the market. Now, we've been looking for hopefully a pullback. We've been bullish on gold this week. We've been looking at potentials to buy gold, but to get a pullback here, we're hoping for a slightly bigger pullback here to buy gold. But you can see we're very, very bullish. We had a little pullback to the previous area of resistance here, and we pushed back up straight away. And that was after the US dollar Fed news that came out this week, and saw a weaker US dollar. Gold pushed up. So then we pushed up, took out this resistance here. And what we're currently looking at is price to potentially pop up, take out this resistance here ever so slightly, and then we might see that sell-off to come back down into a region where we would really like to buy gold for a bigger swing trade up. Potentially could happen next week, could happen in the beginning of next year. We're looking for a push, a tap into this region, because this price action that happened at the end of last week, not much really happened here at the end of the day on Friday or on Thursday. And we can see here that this type of price action, all of this price action here, can be wiped out with one bullish or bearish candle. So what we can see here is we can potentially come up, tap into this region here, taking out this high over here. You can see this resistance, taking out that high, and then we'll have the push down into 1822. Now I do believe that we're going to see price come back down into this area. We can see we've got you can see here we've got support sitting around this area. I do believe that price is going to come back into this region, take out these lows, and before getting that injection to basically get that move, to get that bigger move back up to the upside. So in order to make this move down, I believe we're going to take out this high over here at 1900, tap into 1900 or 1898, and then see a drop down. And from here we can get a drop down into this region. We can see a push back up. As explained to our community, we can see that gold in general, yes, recently we've been having a downtrend, but we can see in general gold is still quite bullish. We've had a pullback on the higher time frames. This is the daily chart, but look at gold all of 2020, just pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. We've had a bit of a correction here, so gold can still continue to push up higher. And then I do believe that once we get back up to 1960, we can come back up into that sort of 2000 region, where there we might see a sell-off, but that's for a hot picks episode later down the line. But immediately next week, what we're looking for is price to push up into sort of this 1898 region. If we can see some bearish price action there, we might see a nice little push up and then a push back down into the 1822 area, and then from 1822 and below, obviously below 1822, not the actual level because we want to take out the lows, we're looking at around 1815. So we're coming to take out, let me be more specific, looking to come and take out 1819. So we'll be looking at coming down into 18.15, 18.10 region before pushing back up to the upside. So that's what we're looking out for on gold, and that's what we'll be watching out for in the week ahead. So that's gold covered. That's USD CAD covered. That's our top two pairs really. We've covered the US dollar as well, so that will help you with your analysis on looking at any US dollar pairs. And the last one we'll look at quickly is USD JPY, which is quite interesting. With this pair here, it's been very, very choppy for a large part of the year. You can see here moving around within a range. We'll just highlight that here. We can see we're in a bit of a range here on the daily. We have now broken to the downside. We actually took a trade on this in the community. We had an intraday trade where we made 4% on this trade, and we took our profit as we got to the areas of support, because we can identify that this pair has been very, very choppy. You can see previous week, and we were sitting on a level of weekly support. We had a doji candle, doji candle, doji candle. So when we were up about 4% profit, 3.8 I think it was to be precise, we took profits off the table. Price has continued to push down lower, and we're breaking this level of support, and I do see that we could potentially come out and attack this candle or this wick over here. So we could see 102 come into play quite soon. So we'll be watching out for that on USD JPY. Obviously USD JPY goes hand in hand with gold, so we're going to be watching how the two react, and we could see a potential pullback on USD JPY before seeing that short trade down. So we will be updating excuse me, we will be updating with that on our IG pages, as we always do after a hot picks episode. So yeah, this was our intraday trade where we made 4%. We came down to the bottom of this range, which we were in a 100 pip range since early November. So therefore we took our profit at the table. That was within a day, so it was nice profit to take. We have broken down since. We've broken through, retested as resistance, and we're just sort of fluctuating around this area at the moment. So we'll be watching out on potential opportunities to get in, maybe into USD JPY once again next week. But we do understand that overall that USD JPY is looking weak and looking quite suspect, that if we can find an entry, we could potentially look at coming down into this area and attacking the 10200 region, as we showed you on this. Let me just show you. As we showed you on the higher time frame analysis here, where the weekly trying to break out those prior weekly lows. So we may get a little bit of a bounce early in the week, but we're watching this level. But we are going to be targeting, so keep up to date with our Instagram, but we are going to be targeting potentially coming down to 10200. It's all looking at what the US dollar does as well, so have that marked out on the US dollar index, and this will help you understand what is going to happen over the next couple of weeks on USD CAD. Could be the next couple of days, but marking this out on the US dollar index, when you get to areas like this and you see an area of resistance on the US dollar index, that can then help you look at potential trades on Euro USD and any other US dollar pairs, Aussie dollar, US dollar. If we go to Euro USD quickly, you can see Euro USD is at the top of its trend at the moment. It's been at the top of the highest place it's been trading in 2020. So there's no looking at taking a short trade on this. It's very, very bullish. We can see here on our daily levels, price broke above the daily level, retested, candlestick closed above. So it's only looks bullish at the moment on pairs like Euro USD, and it only looks bearish for the US dollar. But if we do see a pullback, on these pairs, then especially what you'll understand with the the market structure video that's coming for course lesson number 3, you'll understand that there's this room to maneuver on these pairs. But when it gets to these areas, here can be great buying opportunities or understanding where the market's going to go next, because you understand about the market structure and the US dollar index, and there could be shorting opportunities here or anywhere within this region, and seeing the next wave and the next swing trade down, which we could be holding for a couple of weeks. So interesting times for the US dollar, interesting for gold, which we'll be watching out for. I'm going to be really watching out for this area at the start of the week, and USD CAD at the start of the week as well. So USD CAD and gold are really our hot picks for this week. But in order for you to understand the analysis and method behind it and the trading behind it, we had to show you the US dollar as well. So those 3 were the top ones, but we will be keeping an eye on USD JPY as well. Hope that helped. Hopefully we see some movement on those hot pick pairs this week, and we can all take some trades and have a nice trading week as we move into Christmas. Hope you like that, guys. Speak to you soon. Thank you for watching.